What happens when you rely on having perfect clarity before you actually do anything? You get fucking stuck and you end up doing nothing. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, escaping the clarity trap and how you can get clarity and confidence through actually taking fast, messy action. I'm going to be joined by Camille. If you know, you probably do know Camille. If you're in my world, then you're likely to be in Camille's world as well. She's a business mentor and freedom marketer and wonderful, wonderful human being whom I love dearly. And Camille is all about fast, messy action. It's certainly something that she, she walks the walk, basically. She practices what she preaches. It's also the name of her podcast, if you want to go and check that out. And I assure you, you should do that. So I'll wait for her to send a join request and we'll get going. So basically we're going to be talking about what you do need to have clarity on before you make moves, what you don't need to have clarity on before you make moves, how to actually have the confidence to make moves before you have the clarity, and we're going to sort of talk about the varying stages at which you need to kind of think about this stuff, when you need to press pause and sort of say, okay, you know what, I need to go back to myself before I can move forward, and when the time is right for you to actually just keep on trucking, instead of taking that massive step back, because for a lot of us it feels like we're stopping rather than pausing and sharpening the saw before we cut down the tree, so to speak. So yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about today. I've got loads of notes, so you will see me keep looking. I've got notes on my computer. I've got notes on a notepad in front of me as well. So yeah, let me tell you about myself if you haven't met me before. I'm Lou. I help women coaches in business with their messaging and with their content and the strategy around that. And I do it in a way that is sort of you embodying who you are, embodying that next level version of you, so that you can actually create content with authority and position yourself in a way that makes people want to work with you via your content, so you don't have to go and do sales calls and go and chase clients left, right and centre. They actually like, yeah, I'm absolutely in love with you and I want to work with you because they've seen a piece of your content. So that's what I help with. Camille's coming in now, so I'll ask her to introduce herself as well, and then we will crack on and dismantle this clarity trap.
Hello,
Hello, my darling. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very, very well. Thank you very much. So, do you want to start by introducing? I'm sure everybody knows you anyway, Camille, because, like I just said, me and you have a lot of people in our worlds that we kind of, where there's a little crowd of us, isn't there? But if you introduce yourself, tell us what you do, who you are, what you're all about, who you serve, what shit you get done.
Yeah, so I'm Camille. I'm from the northeast. You can probably tell by the twang. So I'm a northern bird, and I help mostly women to get leads and sales on autopilot. So it's coaches, course creators, consultants, anybody, just to have leads and sales on autopilot. And I think the reason why I'm so passionate about that is to spend more time with family. This is the thing. And this is why we're doing this business in the first place, isn't it? It's not just about working yourself into the ground every single day and every single week. It's doing this in a way that allows you to have the time freedom to spend time with family. That's, like, for me, the time is more important than the money.
Yeah, 100%. And it's funny because, obviously you and I share a lot of the same values, the same ethos in things. And your message, your true core message and your core value is really that we have to create that freedom for ourselves. Mine is that we get to do things on our own terms and be fully who we are. And they're both intrinsically linked, aren't they?
Yeah,
which is
absolutely they are. It's like doing things in your own way and having the freedom at the same time. Exactly. Because then you've got to love it. There's no point doing something you hate, is there? Because you're doing this forever. So
exactly. And if you've got to work hard, which we've all got to do, then you've got to have fucking fun doing it, and you've got to have times when you are free. But the thing is also that, and I know I'm going off topic here already, fucking hell. That freedom part of it is, allowing yourself to be able to do things on your own terms. And when you're really truly embodying it and enjoying it, the freedom, you're, even when you're working, you still have that freedom as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I love things. It works.
This is the thing as well. And like, I'll say to people, look, because I usually only work when the kids are at school, and that is it. Unless I have this epiphany, like I'll have these moments. I know we always discuss this. So usually at like 3 o'clock in the morning, I'll wake up and I'll have this amazing idea. And I've got to put pen to paper. And then I'm awake and I'm like, I need to do this now. I have to do it now. And then I'll just do it then. But it's because I choose to and I want to. And I have this like amazing download and I have to work on it straight away. Yeah. But then having that freedom and flexibility will then allow me to be like, you know what, if I want to have a nap in the afternoon because I've done all of this work on the morning or whatever, I'll do that. And I know you're an early riser as well, aren't you, Lou?
Yeah, ridiculously so, ridiculously so. But yeah, no, I'm absolutely on board with that. And I think, you know, for me, when I was still at work, when I was still employed, I had this night, I wasn't very well, and I had already decided I'm not going to work tomorrow because I don't feel very well, so fuck it. Sacked it off. I got up, it was 3 o'clock in the morning, and I got up and I had a glass of red wine and I was writing, I'm writing a book. So I was sitting writing my book, and in that moment I thought, this feels right, weird, but I've got the choice. I'm doing something that is really work, in inverted commas. I'm having a glass of wine randomly because, you know, coffee wouldn't have been appropriate, I don't feel. So
at that time of morning? Wine?
Well, I mean, yeah, fucking, it varies, doesn't it? It's one of those times. But it was, yeah, and it was in that moment that I felt that call to freedom. That, you know, I'd chosen to do something that was rewarding and work, but equally I had the freedom of the choice of doing what I want to do when I want to do it, and who I am, and fucking, you know, and all of that stuff. But anyway, let's move into the clarity that we're going to talk about, because I know we don't want to keep this, we don't want to do a fucking 90-minute special.
We could easily go on all day, couldn't we? Like, yeah, talk about this, talk about that, and never get to the point.
I know. But the golden nuggets are in the tangents. I say it all the time. So when we talk about like the clarity trap, I suppose what I mean is that you get stuck in stuckness and you get the paralysis because you're constantly trying to find clarity on the next step, then, you know, and you're trying to almost have the whole path mapped out in front of you in order for you to take the first step, and you're thinking about the 100th step and trying to get clarity on that. So you get stuck in this, fuck me, I don't know how to do that 100th step, so I won't even do the first one. Yeah. So that for me is like really what the clarity trap kind of means. What does it mean for you? What would you say?
You know what you've just said then, so many people get stuck in that. And like, I come across this all the time. The amount of times I'm re-saying to people over and over, stop thinking about that. That is like a year ahead of where you are. Let's just focus on this bit first. Let's focus on you gaining clients. Let's focus on you just gaining your first few. You don't have to worry about, oh, what happens if I've got this massive group program and somebody defaults on a payment? Like, stop worrying about that right now. Start worrying about this instead first, because you're not even at that point yet. So it's like retracking, like getting people back to this point, right? Just focus on this first part. Let's get your first client or two in first, and then we'll worry about your huge program and everything else that goes with it. Yeah. I think a lot of people get stuck in this trap because they're just trying to, like you said, think about the whole pathway. And it's that whole, is it Martin Luther King who had that saying about don't look at the whole staircase, just look at the first step? I think it's Martin Luther King.
I don't know who said it, but yeah.
Yeah, it's like, and it's so true, because when you take that first step, and it's a bit like, I was doing this just recently actually, driving on the Moor Road in the fog. So you're driving along in your car, in the fog, it's thick fog. It was like pea soup on that Moor Road. You could hardly see anything in front of you. I was just looking out for the sheep because I didn't want to crash into a sheep. So I was like looking at the lines in the middle of the road because the next line would appear. And that's all I was focusing on, the lines in the road, knowing that another line would appear, and just focusing on getting to that next point. I couldn't see clearly in front of me. It was too foggy. But I was just getting to that next point and that next point, and knowing that I was going to get there, even though I couldn't see the whole road in front of me. I was just getting to that next point. And it's the same thing. You can't, if you try to visualize and if you try to like look at the big picture and try to have every single thing mapped out, it's going to go off course anyway. We will always go off course. We'll try and have these big plans, and then we'll be like, oh, actually, that doesn't feel right. I don't want to do it like that anymore. And then we'll go off on a different route anyway. Yeah. So as long as you push yourself to do that first thing, whether it be creating consistent content to then attract people into your world, that could be the first thing. You don't have to think about when you get to your 100th client, if you're still on your number one. Like, none of that matters right now. Just focus on what you're doing right now and keep the focus. Then the next thing will happen, and the next and the next. And then your next part of your foggy road will appear and you'll know where to go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly that. And it feels like, because I'm a firm believer in visualizing for the future and things. Excuse me, but when people get stuck in the how. So I always say to people, focus on the what, focus on the why, get some clarity around what it is that you are really building here and what you want to achieve. Get the clarity around why you want these things for yourself and what your life will look like once you've achieved it. So we've got an end game here, but remember, it's going to evolve, and the how, the steps will present themselves as and when you fucking need them. So don't worry about, like you've just said, if this is what you're doing right now, just focus on that. And then if, as and when something else comes up, you will be armed with all the fucking shit that you've been armed with historically when things have arisen and you've dealt with them. You still have that capability, deal with the shit, cross the bridge when it comes to it, kind of thing. And obviously we can put contingencies in place and stuff like that. But I think that it really does make people sort of stop in their tracks. And it's funny, really, because I actually have changed my tune this last week. So the email that I sent out today about this live, I've reread it, and I'm like, I don't agree with part of it, where I've said, let's call it what it is, procrastination. I don't like that. I think that it's really fucking ableist, because it's not procrastination for people like ADHD,
Yeah.
It's not procrastination. There's a fear of not being able to see the path ahead. Certainly for me, I can only speak for myself. So there are certain things that have kept me stuck because I don't feel confident in how they're going to pan out. But then it's about building the confidence in yourself to detach from the outcome, so that taking those incremental steps will take you wherever it is that you need to go. And it's having that belief that these steps are, whatever amasses at the end of it, is what you're going to need. And I think that fear really does hold people back as well. So trying to gain the clarity around that, it doesn't serve, because you're just paralyzed. But I really do want to retract my statement in my email. Said it's procrastination, because it isn't. I don't believe that now. I've changed my mind from 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it is. It's the clarity. That's the thing. When people have that clarity on the next step and just know they can push forward and just do it, and they just quickly get it done. And this is the thing as well, you've got to do it quickly before your mind gets involved and starts talking you out of it, because your mind will think of multiple ways that you can't do something. It'll tell you, you can't do this because, you can't do this because, based off of past things that have gone on, either in this lifetime or last or whatever. It'll try and tell you and try and trip you up and try and keep you safe in this little box. And really, you just need to push yourself. And I think it's when you feel the most resistance about doing something, you need to push yourself the most. And I've found this myself to be true as well, because there'll be certain things that I'll be doing. I'm going to give you a pure example here of something that I was procrastinating about just recently. And it was changing things over between my software. So I'm changing from one software to another, still ClickFunnels 1.0 to 2.0, moving everything over. And for me, it caused a lot of procrastination because it's a big job. I've got over 30 funnels, and it's like sending everything from one platform to another. It's been taking me a long time. So I've been procrastinating about it. I'm like, but then when you start doing it, it gets easier. Oh, first funnel's done. Brilliant. I'm going to duplicate that, do the next funnel, do the next. And before I know it, I've got more than a third done in lesser time than I thought it would take to actually do it, because I'm looking at the big thing and I'm like, this is a nightmare. It's going to be a nightmare. Oh my gosh, look at the size of that. Look at what I need to do. It's a big task. It's a big project. But actually, when you break it down and do one at a time, it's not a big project at all. It's just little pieces. And this is the same with the whole clarity and everything. It could be the same when coming up to a launch. People can look at a launch and think, it's a nightmare, and they start procrastinating, doing other little things on the back end because they can't face doing the launch because it looks like a big mountain. And they're like, I don't want to do it. I don't do it. Well, really, if you just break down the tasks in the first step, the next step, it becomes easier.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that the other thing that I tend to do with myself, if I hit resistance, I ask myself, is it because I just don't want to do it? Or is it because there's a fear there that's preventing me from doing it? And once I identify whether it's I just don't want to do it, I can chuck it at someone else to do. I can't be fucked.
Yeah.
Or it's like, oh, actually, there's part of me that's concerned about the outcome, or there's a some sort of limiting belief in there that's like, oh, but this might happen. Oh, I'm having a boo-hoo moment or something. And once I've identified it, it's really easy for me to then move through it. And I think that when you do that in a fun way, reminding yourself that you're perfectly capable of doing difficult things. You've done difficult things your entire life, and then they've become easy because you've done them. So therefore, they're not actually difficult, are they, babe? Because you're more than capable. So make a start, trust yourself. If it gets too hard or you go, it's overwhelming, fucking reach out to whoever it is you're working with, or one of the people, one of your, business buddies, or whoever the right person is, and have the conversation, have your pep talk, and then you'll be like, oh, fuck's sake, all right, come on, I'll do it then.
Give yourself a shake. Come on, you can do this.
You can do it in such a beautiful way with yourself that's kind of like you're cajoling rather than pushing and forcing. You're like, oh, come on, girl, you're better than this, you're able, you're capable. And it's like you empower yourself to just fucking take the action and trust yourself that what is meant to happen, what's meant to come from it, will come from it. And I think the more we do that and the more we flex that fucking muscle, the easier in general life becomes. There's things I don't want to do, and I think, well, I might just give it a go or whatever. But I don't really meet resistance, even in the last, I would say, 2 or 3 months. Resistance just doesn't really feature in my world anymore, because I found a way to not even push through it, but just kind of bypass it. I'm like, bye, so I think that's really important. But I personally think that there are things that we do need clarity on, and I think that is our inner workings, it's our purpose, and it's our vision of what we want our day-to-day lives to really encompass, because that, connecting to that every day, is part of your intrinsic kind of innate motivation to take those steps as well. So for me, I journal every day, and I do, future gratitude journaling and all of this lovely stuff. And I'm always connecting myself to this vision. I can picture it now in my mind. I know where I am. I can feel it. I can feel the sun on me. I can smell it. It's so clear that if any day I think, I can't really be bothered, I think, yes, you can, because otherwise you haven't taken that next step. And these steps, these incremental steps, what do they lead to? The fucking end result. Whether it's still the same as what I'm visualizing now, it doesn't matter. I've detached from it. But that connecting to that future part of yourself is and so the clarity around what that looks like, plus the permission for it to evolve, are for me the 2 biggest things that we definitely do need to at least work on having clarity around. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. And I think, a huge piece of that you've just been saying then about the embodiment work and actually visualizing you being there. And this is like one of the big things, because if you can already visualize yourself being there, but you can feel it, you can smell it, you know what it's like, you can smell the coconut sun cream, you already know what it's like. Like I've got on my vision board now, and it's not enough to just have something on a vision board either. You've got to imagine yourself being there and feeling it and smelling it and being there with it. Like, this is the thing, this is how the law of attraction works. You have to put yourself in that position. Like, you have to actually feel it, because your mind doesn't know the difference between what's reality and what isn't. You're going to bring it into your existence as long as you can already put yourself there. So one of the things that's on my vision board now, it's a holiday home in Italy. I need to make this happen. I will make this happen. It's gonna happen. It
has happened.
It has happened. In my future self has already made it happen. This is the thing. I'm already working towards it. It's already done. It's done. And I think that because it's there and I can see the pictures of it, and I've got the ideal home there, and I'm looking, and I'm on like things like Rightmove and the different things, and looking at these different holiday homes in Italy that I'm like, that's within my reach within the next like couple of years or whatever. And I've got it there, and I'm already visualizing it all the time, like every day. And I tune into the feelings that raises my vibration to be an energetic match for that frequency, to allow more to come into my life. So all of that, and that's kind of when you can get yourself into that state every day. All you need to know is the first step, and you don't need to know the rest of it. Just know that that is going to happen. Doesn't matter what the big plan is. I always deviate from my big plans.
Oh, me too.
I'll have a yearly plan, and I'm like, well, that's gone out the window.
Oh, this is why I don't. I have a 3-month plan tops. Like, fuck me, I don't.
3 months is what I've got it down to as well, to be honest. I'll have a rough yearly plan and I'm like, nah, that's gone. Let's do this 3 months. And then certain things, I'll do a lot of time blocking. So I'll be like this month, for example, it's all been about the membership and growing that. And then next month is going to be about this other big promo that I'm having. The month after is to finish off putting everything between one funnel software and another, as boring as that sounds. But all of these things need to be scheduled in to get them done. So it's about taking the actions as well. Like it's having the full alignment and the embodiment. Having that full clarity around the big thing that you are wanting, tuning into the feelings of it, and then taking the daily actions to making that happen. But you don't need to know all of the stuff to make that happen. Just the next daily thing and the next daily thing and the next thing. That's all you need to do. Just keep taking those steps.
Yeah, absolutely. And so having the clarity then around, what that is and how that feels, what it looks like, and all those things so you can connect to it. Because even, in terms of our subconscious and everything else, all we're doing is consciously training our subconscious to do the work for us. Yeah. So you literally, it's like, okay, work on your beliefs and then your everything else within you will respond to what you believe, right? Because it's like, okay, so here's a good example. If you're say you're out walking the dog, and suddenly a bear jumps out, right? Your entire being is going to respond as in like, fuck me, there's a fucking bear in the middle of like England as well. But then you find out actually it's a person in a bear suit, right? So actually the threat wasn't real, but you believed it was. So you behaved as if it were. So your belief dictated everything that happened. Yeah. Not the fact, the belief. And so that for me is a really powerful example of what our physically, what our bodies are capable of doing based on our beliefs. Right. So it's like, it feeds into itself. And so psychologically, so law of attraction aside, which, I'm sort of like, I am a big cosmos person and universal laws and things like that. Law of attraction, I do have a bit of a problem with here and there. So I won't really go into that because we can debate that for hours. And I flip-flop on it. Do you know what I mean? So, but part of that is because manifestation, I'm a fucking witch. So I've been like, bitch has been doing this for centuries, you're now just calling it manifest, like fuck it. So I'm a little bit, I've got these like weird little feelings around it or whatever, but it's, whatever I do, it's real. But the reasoning behind it is it all basically amounts to the same thing, it's just from a different perspective. So I like to sort of look at it from a psychological the power of the human being perspective as well, because we are so capable. We don't have to leave anything in the hands of the universe. Sometimes it's nice to give the universe its to-do list, right? Don't get me wrong, I do that as well. But we are in charge. We are able and capable of creating this shit for ourselves, which is mind-blowingly, life-changingly spectacular, as long as get to the point, which is easier said than done, it takes work and time, but you get yourself to the point where it's inevitable. That is what it really is.
That's it.
Do you know what I mean?
It's going to happen. It's like deep, isn't it? It's like, I know I'm getting this holiday home in Italy. I know for a fact it's happening. Of course, I've detached the timeline away from it. I've got my rough targets of when I want it to happen by, but the universe doesn't know a timeline. So it's kind of like, right, I've got these targets, I'm working towards these goals, but that's what I'm having. It's already done. It's there. I'm embodying it every day. I'm visualizing it every day. It's already done because the daily actions that I'm taking are working towards that. If I didn't have that as my big vision, would I be taking the daily actions now to get me to that point if I don't know what I'm aiming for? It's a bit like when you go out in the car without a sat nav and you don't know where you're going. You think, I want to drive to, I don't know, Italy or somewhere. And you're like, I'm just going to randomly start driving, and you don't know where you're going. You could go round and round in circles forever. You're not going to get there.
Or if you say you haven't got your sat nav, you think, I don't know where I'm going, and you drive, it could be that, what's the alternative? You just sit there and hope that you figure it out? No, you've got to turn that engine on and you've got to start to
drive.
Do you know what I mean? So it works. It's like all these different ways of it working. I love it. But
it's all about the actions as well, isn't it? This is the thing. It's all about the actions. You can't, and this is how manifestation. I know you don't like the word, but that's how it doesn't work for most people. Like, put this out to the universe, and nothing's worked. Have you actually taken action? No. Well,
this is it. This is
where
exactly that, and this is where this sense of entitlement comes from, because We need to absolutely get this whole this toxic entitlement that's out there, where people are like, if I want it hard enough, it will come. That's wishing and waiting, babe. You don't know.
Yeah.
It's more about taking the aligned action that works in tune, in harmony with what it is that you are asking to receive, being open to receive. You know, there's a lot of work involved.
Yeah.
It's not as easy as putting it on a note and putting it under your pillow, despite what some people might try and sell you. So there is that. But the other
There's
thing
a lot
is,
of crap out there, isn't there?
the other thing is, you know, I think quite often some people will defer their power. I mean, I did a story about this the other day where people are saying, oh, I manifested a client. Did you? Or did you just get your messaging on point that day inadvertently? That's why it fucking happens. Wouldn't you like to be able to do that every fucking time you post? Well, then you want to come and work with me. Because why rely on that? You didn't manifest it. You caused that to happen.
You made it happen.
Right, actual, tangible, functional thing, which we are allowed to say. You are allowed to work hard. You are allowed to do tangible, practical, masculine energy things for your business. Your business is its own entity. You can be both feminine and in receiving mode and in your masculine doing mode. There are all of these elements at play, but people that sit back and go, oh, I just want it to be really easy, so I'm going to wish and wait, and then have the sense of entitlement. They think it's going to come. Oh, I've got news for you, darling. Ain't going to happen.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's the thing. I think a lot of people try to make it easier, or try to visualize the fact that it's going to be easy. I'm visualizing an amazingly easy business, but if it was so easy, then everybody would be doing it. And the thing is, it can be easy in the fact that you do things that are in alignment to you, because this is another thing as well. If you're trying to push a strategy that's not right for you, it's not really going to work very well. But on the other hand, there has to be that balance between the masculine and the feminine. You can't just put it on your vision board and pray to the universe and think, oh, it's going to happen without taking the action. So it has to be that perfect balance between the masculine and the feminine, bringing it into alignment, taking the daily actions that are aligned so that you love what it is that you are doing every single day, and you do make it happen. And it will happen. It's inevitable as long as you show up and do the work for it. That's it.
Yeah, definitely. And it's having the, creating that harmony. And I think that there's a lot around, I was talking about this morning, funnily enough, there's a lot around things being easy. And it's like ease and flow I talk about quite a lot, but flow, in my humble opinion, is where things are difficult enough to keep you fucking engaged in it. Like, we all like a bit of striving, we all like a bit of being driven by purpose. Doing, working hard isn't a bad thing. You are allowed to work hard if you want to put in effort. Good, put in effort, but do it in a way that, like you say, works for you, that's in alignment with what it is you want to achieve. Do not fucking burn yourself out, and have fun with it and enjoy the fucking process. I mean, I know for me, if I've gone balls to the wall mental for a week, working my tits off, then I know how amazing I feel when I sort of sit back and go, yes, my kingdom is being built. So I love it. I get off on it. I've always liked working hard. I've always been conscientious. I've always been a grafter. And I'm getting people out there, you're hearing a lot of messaging at the moment around how everything's got to be easy. Easy's boring to me. And I will stand by that. That's for me. And I'm not saying it's the same for everybody, but what your version of easy and my version of easy are going to be two different things. But piece of piss easy? Well, if it was piece of piss, I press a button and now I'm a millionaire. Sure, yeah, everyone would be doing it. So lose that sense of entitlement. You are going to have to work. You are probably going to have sleepless nights. You are going to have to learn new skills. You are going to have to do things that really put you outside of your comfort zone. This all requires effort, and it all requires self-belief. When you've got the self-belief and you know you're doing it for a fucking reason, and you've got your purpose-driven self working towards this beautiful vision of the future, then it becomes easy.
Yeah.
It's not effortless, it's just, it becomes easy because it becomes something that you want to do. That's where the ease is, isn't it?
That's it. Because you want to do it. I love a rant like this. It's so amazing. That's the thing as well. It goes right back to when I just said to you before, like when I wake up in the middle of the night, sometimes I have an amazing idea I don't have to get up and act on that idea straight away. I want to. I'm like, oh, I'm passionate about this. I want to do it. I want to do it now before the idea goes. And then you have that amazing download. And I think that these downloads happen for a reason. It's always when you're in rest state, or for me, in the bath or the shower. And I know we had this discussion just recently. For me, I only realised it's because I'm a water sign. I'm like, how have I not known this my whole life, that I have all these downloads when I'm in the shower? But I'm a crab, like I'm Cancerian, I'm a crab. And I always have these downloads when I'm in the shower or the bath. And I have to like quickly get out and like get water all over my paper and write things down. And I just have such amazing ideas. So if ever I struggle for any ideas, I'm like, get the hot tub out, get in the water, get in the bath, get in the sea, wherever, and then more will come to me. It's so funny.
No,
but
exactly the same.
when you love doing it, it doesn't feel like effort. You just do it.
Absolutely. That's exactly it. It's not effort. I've got friends that will say to me, oh, I hope you don't have to work at the weekend. And I'm like, you think this isn't my choice? You know, when people say, when are you free? As if I'm always free, and I'm never free. So, you know, I'm always free to do what I want. And what I want to do is not allocate this time to you currently. So, you know, I'm not free.
This is it. It's like when people knock on the door and say, I thought I'd just pop round for a cup of tea because I knew you'd be in. I'm like, I'm working. Well, can you not just spare, like, you know, I'm like, I'm in the floor here, just leave me alone. I'm doing this.
People know not to do that. One of my friends did that one time, and then when I turned her away, she called me, but she was like, you're fucking rude, Louise. I was like, you're fucking rude. You're fucking rude just showing up. I'm in the middle of my work. Very much. It was, we were only laughing, but it was just so funny when she's leaving my back gate going, you're fucking rude, Louise. I was like, hey.
You just think, you know what's the difference between me working at home here or actually going out and working in an office? I'm still working. Don't just show up and knock on the door. And also the same for my neighbours as well. They used to always get parcels sent here. Oh, we know Camille will be in. We'll just get our parcels sent there. I remember one Christmas, the door going literally every 10 minutes during the day. And I was like, I'm not having this anymore. So I remember like taking the parcels to the houses and saying, please don't allow your parcels to come to my house again. Because I'm just like, I know I'm in, but I'm working. You can't keep disturbing me all day with all your kids' presents and stuff. It's like, God.
Totally agree. Yeah. So going back to what you said about being in water as well. I mean, I'm the same. I'm not a water sign. I'm an Aquarius though, so I'm the water bearer. So yeah, it's all, you know, interlinked. But it's the same for me. And I think that in terms of finding clarity at times, it's cultivating and creating that space for yourself to be mindless about it. So, you know, if you sit and you're trying too hard, it doesn't come. Like if I've got a big problem to solve, then I stop thinking about it consciously. I'm like, you know, when people say, oh, I'll brainstorm that, I'm like, I'm not going to sit and workshop anything. I always say, oh, I'll daydream about that, because it will just, the solutions come when you're not forcing them to come. So being by water, and for some people it's the woods, and you know, we've all got different areas where we're at our most creative, but also at our most disconnected from the world in which we have to connect to on a daily basis as online business owners. But when we're connected to, you know, the universe, nature, the fucking energies around us and ourselves, and that's when this shit actually goes ba-ding, and you're like, epiphany! Now I know. And those moments of epiphany and clarity, I think, are when you should absolutely strike while the iron's hot. I'm actually in talks with somebody about developing an app for like, I'm not going to tell anyone too much about it. I'm really precious about it, but it is to do with this kind of thing, and it's for creatives who have these moments of brilliance, and then if you don't write it down or act on it, it's like the moment's passed, the passion's passed, or the thought's passed, or whatever, and you can't fucking pull it back from the ether, you know, which is infuriating. So it's all to do with that. But I definitely would recommend that for people if there's, you know, if you are sort of finding that you feel really stuck. Sometimes you don't want to take fast, messy action. Sometimes it is right to press pause for a few days, really disconnect. Don't overthink it. Disconnect and reconnect in you know, in terms of the fucking world. And just go about your lovely day doing lovely things for yourselves. And I'll tell you what, it'll be, I don't know, if it'll be less than 24 hours, you'll get the clarity. It will suddenly appear to you. And then you've got to stop yourself from working, which is hard.
I think that there's two different ways. I think if you're faced with a problem, like you said, if you're faced with a problem, sit with it. Like for me, I'll go in the shower all the time. Whenever I get a problem, I'm like, whether it be a problem with a client, whether it be a problem with tech, whether it be a problem with like whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm like, I'm going to sort of sit with it or actually go stand with it in the shower. I'm going to go get in the shower. I'll clear my mind, completely clear my mind, tune into the water running, all that kind of thing, just to be like a blank canvas.
Yeah.
And then the resolution will just come to me. And I'm like, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to say. This is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to deal with this situation. And then it'll just come to me. But I need to take that pause and those few moments out of my day to either go get in the bath, get in the shower, be in water, basically. And that's when I get my clarity around solving problems.
Same.
If it's something like a download that happens in the middle of the night, any download that I get, bath, shower, middle of the night, whatever, and it's an amazing idea, I have to take fast, messy action straight away. And I think a lot of people do, because otherwise your mind talks you out of it.
Yeah.
If you've got an amazing idea, don't allow your mind to talk you out of it before you take action on doing it. Just take fast, messy action, get it done, start working on it, and then when you start, like you said, you just have to take the first step. When you take the first step, the next one will appear, and the next one, and the next one. And the more that you just take action on that and stop ignoring the signs that come to you and the downloads that come to you. You get a lot of signs every day from the universe or from whatever. People might say something to you, you might see a repeated pattern. Somebody might say, I wish you could do a course on this. And then the next person who doesn't even know that person, oh, you should have a course on this. Or the next person, you should be talking about this. It's like, right, this is like how many people today? How much of a sign is that? I need to take fast action and do it.
And yeah, I was going to say, and then it's opening yourself up. I think this is, again, it comes back to your self-belief, because for people that don't believe that they have got the capacity to achieve these aspirations that they have, they then are closed off to possibilities and potentialities and opportunities, which then invariably leads to it not being inevitable. So the more you believe in yourself, the more you start to expand your capacity in what you are actually fucking capable of, and start picking up on these signs, whether they're internal, whether they're external. When you start to have conversations with the fucking universe, your neighbours think you're mental. It's great. And and then and actually what then happens is, the steps do come. What happens with me as well is sometimes I have these amazing ideas and I work with them to a point, and then I think, right, no, this isn't for now. I know this is for something, but it's not for now, and I can feel that, and I feel like, right, and I pop that somewhere, and I know it exists, and when it's the right time to then go for it with that, that's when it will happen. So I don't believe any ideas are bad ideas. I just think it's a case of timing. We're never all going to end up being able to implement all of the ideas that we have.
Oh, absolutely.
My sadness in life is like, I can't do everything. I can't read everything I want to read. I can't do every idea.
I could duplicate myself 10 times. I need loads of clones of me to get all this stuff done that I want to get done.
No, I'm just like, oh, maybe in the next life, and I'm like, oh, but I won't know necessarily. But yeah, so that goes on. But okay, so I think, like, obviously we've got to wrap up and head off. So what would in terms of escaping the clarity trap and actually taking that action, what would your sort of top tip be? What would your biggest thing that you would say to somebody to spur them on?
Just literally take the next step. You know what the next step is that you need to take. If you are just starting out on this business and you've not done anything yet, the first big thing you need to do is get clear on who it is that you want to help, why you want to help them, how you can help them, like what their main problems are, what they're wanting to get to, what the solution is, how you can bridge the gap, and then just start getting visible. Start putting out pieces of content. It's not going to be right first time. The thing is, I think a lot of people get so hung up in creating the perfect content at the very beginning phases and throughout their entire business. I've never created a perfect piece of content, and never will.
Oh, I have.
It's no such thing as perfect content in my world. I just throw things out there, and it's obviously it becomes more aligned. It becomes more to do with your dream client. The more that you can get into their heads and know what it's about and do your market research and all that kind of stuff. But the very first thing you need to do is just start showing up with pieces of content. Know what the problem is that your dream clients have got and just start throwing out pieces of content. Then you can refine your journey along the way. Go have a chat with Louise about your content strategy. And then, and then just start showing up for it. That is the thing, because I think that's the hardest thing that people have is to get off that starting line. The think about it, the think, I want this business, I want it, but I don't know where to get started. Just start being visible. Even though, and just know that it's not going to be perfect. My first live stream is hideous. My first pieces of content are so fluffy and bland and generic, but it doesn't matter. I got out there and I started doing it. And when you start doing it, then you know, and you can pinpoint, oh my gosh, look at my content then. And I'll look back on my content from like 3 or 4 years ago, my live streams. I'm like, oh my gosh, how stiff am I? How very corporate am I? How much of the Queen's English am I speaking? Just, it was bad. But you know what? I started doing it. And that's what I needed to start doing, to start pushing myself out there to get into the point that I'm at now. That's the thing.
Brilliant. Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that. And I'd just add to it that connecting with that part of yourself who, you know, who you want to be, and really embodying that be, because when you are her and you become her, then you do as she does. Check in with her, like what would this me be doing right now, and then you just start to do those. That's the action, and then eventually that leads to the having. But we don't worry about that. We detach from that because it is the incremental action that leads to the result. We all know that is proven in any fucking thing in the world. You know, the actions lead to the results. So yeah, absolutely. But checking in with yourself every single day, you know, connecting to that wider picture of what your perfect day looks like, and just embodying that person, embodying her, because she is you. She's already there. She exists. You know, and you've just got to be her, and then all the other things sort of start to fall into place. So I think that
that's the thing as well. And one more thing to add to what you've just said there, Lou. I think that a lot of people are like, oh, this isn't happening for me, and they get like really, really impatient. It's, are you actually coming from a place of having the type of business that you are wanting to grow? Say, for example, if you're wanting to get to your first 6 figures, are you acting from a point of view where you are right now, from a place of lack, like, oh, I've only got, I don't know, like £500 coming in this month? Are you acting from that place, or are you acting from the place of the person who's already brought in 10 grand this month? Because when you act from that place and know the daily things, like she's showing up every single day for her business. She's showing up powerfully every day. And she's not just like, oh, I can't be bothered today. That is the lack place. If you are wanting to grow this really successful business, you've got to start being, like you said, the person now, and doing the actions of that person right now for that to all come to you. This is the thing, exactly what you just said.
Well, and I always say this about this TV show that I was watching, and there's a kind of geeky guy on it, and he's jealous that the girl that he likes is dating this other guy who's like, he does like skydiving and stuff. And the geeky guy says, you know, oh, I wish I could be I wish I was the kind of guy that could jump out of planes. And a girl says to him, well, all you've got to do to be that person is go and jump out of a plane. And he's like, oh yeah. And it's like a little mini in that moment. If you want to be that person, you have to do as she does. You be her, you believe that she is you, and then you do as she does, and then you will create what she wants to create. And that, it really is that simple. It's not, you know, it's not fucking that easy. You can't just suddenly click and it's there, but it is that simple. The concept is that simple, and for various reasons, as we spoke about earlier. So basically fuck clarity around the how, because the next step will appear when you need it to appear. Focus on the step that's in front of you right now, and embody who you are, not who you are. Stop clamoring
when you've got it all, because it's already done. In your future timeline, it's already there, and it's already done. You can collapse those timelines the more that you embody her right now. Absolutely.
Fuck yeah.
Oh yes.
I feel like I'm like
Friday chat.
I'm fucking ready for anything now. Let's fucking all right. Well, thank you so much, Camille. Obviously, yes. So I've already told people about your podcast earlier on. Before you came on, but yeah, Camille's podcast, Fast Messy Action, go and check it out, and that's where we're going to record an episode, which I will let everybody know about after the event, whenever you publish it or whatnot. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. You're welcome, mate. We'll have to do more of these. Love it. Empowering. Ooh. And if anybody's got any questions when we've posted this, obviously, then just Put it in the comments, tag me or Camille or DM us. Go and follow Camille if you don't already. If you're in Camille's audience and not in mine, come and follow me because I'm wonderful. And yeah, and I hope everyone has a fucking fabulous Friday and a wonderful weekend.
Yay!
All right, darling. Ta-ta for now.
Bye for now.
Bye.